All right, well, I said I was going to talk about this project car, and now it's time to talk about it. Welcome to Out Motorsports, the channel for cars as you are. My name is Jake, and this is my cheap old Mercedes-Benz S320. This is what I towed home with this guy right here, the Audi SQ7, and this isn't at my home. This is at my friend Jeremiah's home, where he's also taking care of a old Acura Legend that is his project car, not mine. But this is the S-Class that I bought. I got it from my parents' neighbors next door, and it runs. It does run, but it's got some issues. So let's take a quick tour of the car and figure out what's going on, kind of talk through a plan, and then I'm going to start diving into a couple things, maybe while I'm here today or maybe next time I come back. All right, so first things first, just a quick exterior tour. This is a black on black S320. It is a 1996 model year that the previous owners bought in 1999. So this, like I said, was owned by my parents' next door neighbors. They bought it in 1999 from Mercedes-Benz of White Plains. It's got the original license plate frame on it here. And you see it's got the S320 badge. He said that the car had the gold package on it, very 90s when they got it, and he had that taken off because he liked the gold, or the silver accents rather, instead of the gold. But they bought it. I don't know if CPO was a thing or not back then, but it had 12,000 miles in 1999 when they bought it. It was both for the husband and the wife, although the wife is the one that drove it primarily for the first couple of years, but they both shared it. They used it for road trips. They had other cars and all that. But the cool thing is I've got all the keys for it. So I've got these keys. These are the extra keys. The square one is the just the extra regular key, and then the oval one is the valet key. But what I love here is that this has the key tag that is from, I think, the dealer inventory stock when this car was sold to them pre-owned in 1999. So that is really, really cool. And then the other thing that I've got is both of the switchblade keys. So these are early switchblade keys, but they have one button that will either lock or unlock the car. Got the little Mercedes key tag there. So unlock the car, and the first thing about it is that it doesn't unlock the driver's door with the key fob. I think that means the vacuum pump is dying. All the locks on these cars work off vacuum. The good news is you can do it by the key and it works just fine. Taking a look inside here, this has a pristine black leather interior. It looks really, really nice. This car has 144,000 miles on it now. It smells incredible in here. If you've ever driven or been in an old Mercedes-Benz of this era or a little bit older, they all have the same smell. So really, really nice shape. And I mean, the seats just look like they've never been sat in. The steering wheel's got minimal wear on it. One other thing with older Mercedes, the gauge needles are still very orange, which is kind of a sign that it was cared for. This was always garaged, always kept in nice shape. If you look down here, even all the markings for the headlight controls and everything are still in really, really nice shape. And I mean, look at the floor mats, like barely any wear. This is just wild to me. If we take a look in the back seat, same thing. This is a long wheelbase S320, so it's the biggest one you could get at the time. It's just got the smallest engine in it, but again, no wear. They did have kids. They took this car on road trips with the kids. They eventually moved on to a Volvo wagon for doing that, but you know, they took their kids for college tours in this car and everything. It's pretty wild. The burl wood is all in really nice shape here, and I mean, all the ruched leather, it's so 90s. I mean, look at that. I'm so into it. Even the mat pockets aren't really sagging. So that's just a brief little interior tour, and these cars all had soft closed doors, and it works. Have to push a little more. There we go. Look at that. I think that's wild. So interior's in great shape. If we take a look at the wheels, they could use a little refinishing. The tires are also from like 2017, so I'll probably try and get those replaced. The paint is in okay shape. It is 040 black, which means it's the non-metallic black. The hood is a little foggy. It could use a polish, a cut and polish here. And there's some rock chips on the front of the hood, but nothing too crazy. It's in pretty good shape. It was cleaner, and then it's sat under some trees here for the past couple days, but generally in really, really good shape. The headlights are in nice condition. I know they're glass. Don't know if the wipers work. I'm probably not going to try them right now. But that's kind of the exterior tour. And let's hop in because there's some nostalgia hits in here as well. Go ahead and shut the door. Ooh, use that soft close. All right, now, first things first with the key. I'm gonna go ahead and put this in. We've got the old Mercedes buzzer, the best or nothing. I just love that. I love that that was the best. Anyway, this has 144,688 miles on it. And I mean, it starts and runs no problem. Now it does have a check engine light on. This car thankfully is OBD2. It's a 1996 model year, so it's got a Misfire. He said, the seller told me that he had it scanned at like an AutoZone or something, and that it's Misfire in 1 cylinder. So I did bring a code reader with me, and we're gonna plug that in and verify, but I've got a set of plugs, I've got new coils for it, and I've got new wires. So I'm gonna try and throw those on tonight, or maybe the next time I come back here, hoping that will clear it up. But otherwise, quick little interior tour over here. It has the cell phone, which will still power on, and the coolest part is that is tied to the car phone right here. So this will all still work, although it doesn't get serviced because we don't have analog service anymore. A couple cup holders there. All of this is also in very nice shape. The air conditioning allegedly works. I have not tried it, but I guess we're doing that now. And then it's got the factory. Ooh, where's my fan? Let's turn that down, keep it quieter. I've never really played around with the W140, so this is all fun. Anyway, climate control appears to work. It's got the factory Becker head unit. It does have a 6 CD changer in the trunk, so you've got cassette and 6 CDs there, heated seats of course. And then looking further down, we've got our power windows and power mirrors. Now, one thing with the mirrors, this is a common W140 problem. The seller told me that he went to adjust the passenger side mirror and saw a puff of smoke, and then it stopped working. So these cars had biodegradable wiring harnesses kind of all over the car, including in the engine bay, and that was kind of a problem because the cars outlived the wiring harnesses. So basically the insulation that wraps around each of the individual wires for everything in the car it crumbles. It degrades and it crumbles and falls off. And for model year 96, Mercedes gave the car a better engine wiring harness that won't do that. But for some of the auxiliary pieces of the car, including the door mirrors, those still crumble and fall apart. So the issue is that this door mirror over here has some bad wiring, and that is on the same fused circuit as my power passenger seat, my adjustable steering wheel that is also power operated with this little guy here. It currently won't do anything. And also my power driver seat on this side. So it's all in the same fuse. I think I can just replace the fuse, and then that will let me adjust everything. And if I just don't adjust the mirror, then it won't have a problem again, but I'd rather fix the problem. So I'm not sure if I can get an actual wiring harness replacement or if I have to fix the wires themselves, but either way, it's like 9 wires. I'm not scared of wiring, so I'm gonna mess with that. The other thing to take a look at is with this shifter. So this is the typical gated Mercedes shifter, and it's got a little issue where when you go into drive, you'll notice it's supposed to stay over here, and it kind of flops over into fourth. There is a metal piece here that is supposed to hold it in drive, and then you click over to fourth, and it's not doing that. Obviously I still have third and second, but there is a rebuild kit available for this, so that's in fourth there. I think that's drive, but I want to make it so that it stays and it's properly in drive and gives me all 5 gears. So let me plug in the code reader. Let's read this code and see which cylinder we got a misfire on, and maybe tear into it right now. All right, so I'm using an app called Fixed. This uses a Bluetooth OBD2 sensor reader and communicates with your iPhone. So it found a misfire on cylinder 5, and of course it can clear the light, but I want to fix the problem, so we're gonna do that. So let's pop the hood and talk about it. All right, so here is the mighty M104 inline 6-cylinder. This came on some earlier cars as well. It's a 3.2 liter inline 6, making like 228 horsepower and 230 something pound-feet of torque, I think. I'm not versed in old Mercedes at all, so I could be totally wrong.
Crushed it.
It's paired, in this case, it's got a 5-speed automatic. It's the 722.6. That was the first year for this, versus a 4-speed in the earlier cars. But the fun thing with the ignition setup in this car is that it uses what's called wasted spark, which is something that's new to me as a concept. I have heard of cars that use, of course, 1 spark plug in coil per cylinder, or a distributor, or in some cases 2 plugs per cylinder, but in this case it's 1 plug per cylinder, so you've got 6 plugs. It's an inline 6, and in this case with wasted spark, it's going to use 3 coils to run 6 cylinders. So it's going to have a coil that goes directly on the cylinder, on the spark plug in one case, and then there's a wire that goes to a second spark plug. So that is going to be how that operates, and it runs some of them on the intake and some on the exhaust. I don't quite know, but anyway, it uses 3 coils. So in any case, we reached out to my friends at FCP Euro. Love those gals and guys, and this box is full of all the magic that's going to hopefully fix the car. So, all right, so I undid the math here. I'm going to just take this intake pipe off, and then I think it's just this black cover to get at the plugs. So this hopefully will be fairly simple, famous last words. But it's just that, and then I've got this connector here. I'm gonna try and not break. There we go. And there is another screw, looks like right there, that I will have to get at with a ratcheting wrench. Oh, and then this comes off here and here. Mercedes certainly do not fail to use lots of lots of bolts here. Of course, everything's a 10 millimeter. At least the first bolt I go for is a 10. That's, oh, don't lose these. Let's not lose anything. Put everything over there. They really don't want this air intake going anywhere, do they? And I know I talk about using a mechanic sometimes, but I'm happy to work on my own stuff. And I've never worked on an old Mercedes-Benz, but they seem to be pretty well thought out, and maybe a little less of a pain than an old BMW. A different kind of a pain. That's a tiny little clampy thing. Oh, let's not lose you. Oh, for fuck's sake. Oh, look at this. It's even got a cute little diagram of what goes to what for your plugs. This is so helpful. Old BMW would have never done that. They would have just been like, ha, good luck. I love this. All right, so these are an Allen key of some sort. Of course, these are all jumbled up, out of order. That one will work. Don't even know what size it is. Do I care? Not necessarily. Now, the fun tea on this car is that the owners, like I said, have had it since 1999. Well, now I'm the owner, but the previous owners had it since 99. And, you know, they put a ton of miles on it. They really loved it. They kept it very nice. When they started having these issues with it misfiring, they basically went to a couple mechanics, and because the W140 has such a bad reputation for wiring harness issues, they were just told, oh, it's the harness, which I think is a bunch of lazy mechanicking on the mechanics' parts, because if you can Google, you can understand that the 96 model year onward does not have said harness that is a problem. At least that's what the internet tells me. So I took a gamble when I offered to buy it, because the owner was really just fed up with all the piddly issues, and he's just like, look, I've had my fun. I might just donate it to Cars for Kids. And as we all know, if you donate a car that has issues, it's going to go immediately to auction, as really all those cars do. But it's going to go to an auction where, you know, it's not a running, driving car. This is the thing with problems. And I looked at him, and I'm sitting there in my parents' driveway, not looking to buy a car. And in fact, have nowhere to put it, didn't really need to spend the money, but, you know, I can fix him. I can't let him die like this. So I just stood there and I said, well, I'll offer you whatever they're going to give you as a tax write-off, and then I'll keep the car, or I'll pass it on to someone else who wants to own it and love on it longer term. And he agreed to that plan. So that was all a couple months ago, and then I finally went and got it once I had a tow vehicle. I had that Audi that you saw earlier. That was a lovely tow vehicle. It's a whole separate video, but yeah, I couldn't let it die. Couldn't let it go. So here we are in my friend's driveway, trying to fix it. The good news is, car's pristine. They were driving it up until 6 months ago, you know, even then, still loving on it. So they really, I think, cared for it. I think it was mostly dealer serviced, according to what they told me, for the sake of when they lived in New York. They don't live there anymore, but, you know, don't go flying away on me. But when they lived there, they bought it from Mercedes-Benz of White Plains, and I believe it was serviced there until they moved away only about a year ago, or maybe a little bit further back. So in any case, probably dealer service most of its life, or at a reputable, you know, Euro Mercedes shop. So, you know, also a very good thing to know. All right, that's done. Cover comes off. Look at these. All right, so I'll show you what this wasted spark setup looks like. So here you've got your cylinders in order, and you've basically got a coil pack, and it sits, like I said, directly on one of the plugs, and then it feeds another one. So in this case, this is what, cylinder 2, and the wire goes over here and feeds cylinder 5. That's why they've got that diagram, and that's that. So now I'm going to figure out how to install these. This is this is the coil pack that feeds cylinder 5 where the Misfire is. I'm doing all of them, but really easy. You just pull the wires off of both ends. This side is the side that comes from the car, from the ECU to control it all. This is the one that goes to the secondary plug, and then this just sits right on top of the other plug. So let's pull these all off and replace everything. And there is my plug. These look old. These look very old and very, very tired. These are Mercedes-Benz spark plugs. I don't know if there's any way it says Germany on them, but look at how old that looks. Look at how old this coil pack looks. These might be original to the car, to be honest. Okay. I'm not replacing these with cheap parts. I'm using Bosch because use OEM, you know, they lasted this long, so that is what we're gonna do. Got a brand new spark plug. Go ahead and thread this in. Now I am doing this in pairs like I took them off, because I do not trust myself to remember which goes where, even with that handy dandy guide on the top of the cover. All right, now we do our new wire, which is here. So this one is going to go on plug 5. And that appears to be pushed down. And then this will connect to my new plug, or my new coil, which is here. That pushes on. And this pushes on. And then there's a little metal nubbin that this fits into. Oh, I have to put a new boot on it. We love a new boot. Go ahead and put this on. And she just slides right on in. Yes. Am I doing that right? And that's it. So I'm gonna do this with the others and we'll see how it runs.
A little while later.
All right, well, it's been some time. I replaced all 6 plugs. I replaced all 3 coils. I gave everything a fresh wires and fresh coil boots. I did discover one of the 6 plugs was very lightly got a little bit of an oil coating on it, so I'm probably gonna need a valve cover gasket as well. But I believe that was for cylinder 2 and the Misfire was on 5. So I need to do it, but it's not going to impact the car running too much right this second. So I'm going to wait until I have another free day. I want to address the mirror wiring and get the seat in a position I like and all that before I get too much further down the rabbit hole. But that'll be easy enough to do. Moment of truth once we close this big mama of a hood. Let's see what she does. I don't know if I have to clear the check engine light or if it will self-clear, but either way. Well, it immediately seems to be running smoother. Oh yeah, she's happy again. Watch that. That's just... There's that silky smooth inline 6 goodness. All right, I'm gonna put my tools away. I'm gonna call this one a success. Next up, we're gonna work on fixing the mirror and hopefully fixing the shifter when I get the part in for that. So thank you for following along with this first step of the Project W140 diaries here, and we'll see you for the next one.